My daughter rolled her eyes the second I walked into the courtroom. That slow, dramatic teenage roll that says, "You're pathetic." She leaned in toward him, her father, and whispered something behind her palm. They shared a laugh. My ex didn't even look at me. He was too busy adjusting his tie and pretending he wasn't on trial for ripping a life apart. Then the judge saw me. She froze. The gavel slipped slightly in her hand, and in a whisper so quiet I almost missed it, she said, "Is that her?" The bailiff went still. A murmur rippled through the room. They had no idea who I really was, but they were about to find out. I met Daniel Jameson in the spring. He was charm, suits, and sharp teeth. I was fresh out of grad school, clutching a psychology degree and my mother's voice in my head. Don't marry potential, marry proof. Daniel was proof. He had a clean smile, family money, and ambition that bled from his pores. He sold me dreams wrapped in certainty. For a while, it was good, real good. He held my hand during my C-section. He whispered our daughter's name like a prayer. But over time, he stopped looking at me and started looking through me. It wasn't sudden. That's the trick of betrayal. It's a slow poison. Missed calls, overnights at conferences, passwords changed, whispers in the garage. I noticed receipts he couldn't explain, lipstick on the collar, too cliché, too easy. It wasn't until I picked up his phone by accident, his old phone, the one he didn't wipe clean, that I found it. Her. Her name was Vanessa. She was everything I wasn't. Blonde, oblivious, and utterly taken by his recycled lines. But that's not what broke me. What broke me was the email he sent his lawyer. "We need full custody. She's unstable. She won't fight it. She can't afford to." He didn't want to divorce me. He wanted to erase me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I listened. And then I started building. I pulled every thread he thought I'd dropped. Started with a fake breakdown. Quiet, subtle, believable. Let him think I was unraveling. I stopped showing up to events. I forgot to pay bills. I took pills I didn't need. He documented everything, exactly like I wanted him to. I gave him a performance so convincing, he offered me a settlement in cash to go away quietly. But while he watched me fall apart, I was building an arsenal. I went back to my maiden name. I took a job at a crisis center, under the radar. Got certified in digital forensics. Started moonlighting with a private investigator who owed me a favor from years ago. 6 months in, I had his phone records, burner accounts, offshore transfers, and, most damning of all, a signed affidavit from Vanessa. Turns out she thought he'd leave me years ago. She didn't know he was using her, too. I kept everything quiet, filed in states he wouldn't expect, buried evidence in plain sight. Then I waited. Until he filed for full custody. Until he brought my daughter into court and called me a danger to herself and others. Until he smiled at the judge like he was doing the world a favor by rescuing our child from me. And then I walked in. The judge stared at me like I was a ghost, because she remembered me. We'd sat on a panel together at a judicial psychology conference 5 years ago. She knew exactly who I was. Not the fragile, broken woman Daniel painted me to be, but the woman who wrote the book on manipulation and emotional abuse. The woman whose clinical work in high-conflict divorce cases had become mandatory reading in family law seminars. She saw me, and I saw the shift. Daniel didn't, not yet. I sat, calm, silent, waiting. When it was my turn, I didn't raise my voice. I presented timelines, evidence, bank accounts, audio recordings. I watched his lawyer's face fall in real time. Vanessa's affidavit, sealed until that moment. My forensic report, admissible and damning. He tried to speak, but the judge held up her hand. "Mr. Jameson, I suggest you remain silent, for your own sake." And then she turned to my daughter, who looked at me, truly looked at me, for the first time in years. The court awarded me sole custody. The financial fraud charges are still pending. Daniel's reputation? Gone. He built a world on lies. I let him think he'd won, until the world crumbled under his feet. I don't feel guilt. I feel precision. He underestimated me, weaponized my silence, tried to take my child and erase my name. But you don't erase a woman like me. You just give her motive. And I never waste a good motive.